So now we're going to look at how we do audio reactivity in Notch. So obviously the first thing I need is to get some audio in. I'm just going to use an MP3. So import resource, I use sound, and here's a track that some people might be familiar with. And I can drag that and drop that into the graph, and it creates a play sound node. And pressing play, it will play the MP3 directly out. Let's create a shape 3D node so we've got something to react with. Just drag and drop that into the center. So we looked before at modifiers and how they can be used to apply to inputs in a mesh if I expand the node. And there's a modifier in the list called a sound modifier. If I drag and drop that into the scene, this can be linked to any node, any parameter on any node, and the audio channel can be linked into it. So it's linked the play sound into the input of the sound modifier, and then the sound modifier links into any parameter we want to affect. Let's for the moment just affect position Y. And if I hit play, you can see that the audio is being applied and analyzed, and waveforms being generated. And if I look at the sound modifier, you can see here the generated waveform. So at the moment, it pretty closely follows the input signal. And I can adjust this. There's various parameters I can use to adjust this. So I can smooth it out by adjusting the attack and the decay, so it more softly affects it. By scaling, I can make it move more. I can make it ramp off much more slowly using attack and decay. And there's smoothness controls here, so I can smooth it out even further. And all of the changes you're making here, you make to the node, are visually shown to you in the waveform. So you can see the effect you're immediately having on the audio waveform as you manipulate them. You notice that there is a band EQ here, and the band EQ is used to work out what elements, what frequencies from the audio are being fed in. And this can be, we can just paint this to show how it changes. Let's expand this out a little bit to give us more room. So at the moment, I'm just taking the bass bands, but if I went for, say, one of the mid bands, you can see that as you bring in different bands, different elements of the music are brought in, giving you some quite fine-grained control. So if I want to just pick out the snare drum, for example, I can add a little bit of threshold as well to cut out the less important values. I can have multiple sound modifiers, both linked to the same audio source and going onto different parameters. So let's link this one to the, let's link this one to the, say, the scale X. Again, we can smooth it. Let's make this one mainly follow the bass drum. It's easy to wire one modifier to multiple channels so we can make it affect the other scale channels evenly. It's worth understanding that the way effectors are applied, we can attach them to almost anything and across multiple nodes and build up something quite complicated from just a few effectors. So let's we can change the way that the modifier is applied here. We can blend it in and out, and we can also change the way it's applied to the target value. So the moment it adds to the target value, we can make it multiply instead. Let's attach that to the brightness as well, say. This enables a very flexible workflow for developing audio reactive effects.